All right. Georgia announced last week that they are now allowing beer and seltzer to be sold everywhere in the stadium, not just in the high dollar society boxes. So that is now the last. Georgia and Auburn were the last holdouts. Auburn hasn't announced it yet, but it's assumed that Auburn is going to join Georgia. So as the last of the SEC holdouts, Georgia and Auburn, of course, the last of the holdouts. Not surprising at all. Let's get on your. You find that surprising? Go ahead,
Yeah.
give us your thoughts.
No, I would if you would have told me 10 years or not even 10 years ago, 3 years ago, what would be the teams that were last holdout? Certainly Georgia and Auburn. I would have put Alabama in there. I would have put Mississippi schools, the buckle of the Bible Belt. Florida, I would have put LSU as another one as being the front runners on
LSU
allowing.
was Florida and LSU were the front runners.
Well, I'm just it didn't surprise me, but I'm surprised I didn't. You told me Alabama had served it what last year,
Yeah,
uh, Ole Miss and Mississippi State like that last year or the year before. I'm just
yeah. I'll
surprised.
look it up.
I'm just surprised that Georgia and Alabama. I mean, sorry, Georgia and Auburn were the last. Not surprised. It makes sense to me, but I would have figured there'd been a few other ones. Alabama being one and Mississippi being the other one, where you had the holdouts that didn't want to do it. It makes a lot of sense to me, though. I mean, let's get serious here. I mean, weed is legal in however many states. It's decriminalized in the city of Atlanta. Kids are binge drinking before they come in. Now it's at least regulated, and the university and the stadium starts to make some money off of it. I'm all for it. So, but my question is, how long are the lines going to be? How much is a beer going to cost? And I hope they get rid of. I hope they don't allow Bud Light or any Budweiser products, and they can do all local breweries like the Terrapin and Creature Comforts, and we don't go along the national big box watered down piss beer.
Uh,
So
well, I mean, so to answer your question, 2019. So soon, Ole Miss was one of the first teams to do it, which
surprising to me.
was surprising. Um, but here's my thing, and I wrote it in a blog. Check out Don the Dog. I wrote it in a blog. I was surprised that, or I just the rule never made any sense to me. It just never did because you got kids binge drinking because that's usually the biggest concern on these college campuses about students buying beer. But we're going to turn a blind eye whenever they go downtown with fake IDs and they're 16. But whatever, that's fine.
Or they're funneling beers outside outside the gates to get loaded before they come in and pass
No,
out.
I mean, people would drink beer in the lines waiting to get into. I mean, and openly, not like hiding it or anything. And nobody did anything because it just didn't. How many times are you going to stop that? I mean, it happens every time.
You couldn't have enough police force to drink.
No, you couldn't. And then people also smuggle whiskey and have gooch whiskey, or they put it in their boots. So it was never really, it never made any sense to me. But now they're going to sell it. To your point, I don't know where, because we went to Stegman and we've been to Stegman when they've had beer there, and that's fairly new. I think probably 2-3 years old. That line is a slow moving line.
They don't have it on tap. They got to pour it out. That's part of the problem.
And put cups and put a cup in it, which
Yeah.
again, it doesn't make any sense to me because we went to South Carolina. They were selling beer and they gave the cans to you.
Yeah.
Um,
I can see why they don't want to. I honestly pour it out of a tap and give you a plastic because you start getting full beers and shit goes wrong on the field and the call we're not getting the calls. I can see a
Tennessee.
ref getting hit in the head.
Yeah, that could happen. I don't know. It will be interesting. I know. I remember I sent it to you. Creature Comfort teamed up with Georgia Athletics to be the official beer of Georgia football. So I would not be shocked if for sure, Creature Comforts being there. It would only make sense that Terrapin partnered up with them since it's in Athens as well.
I'm in favor of it all being local Athens brewery. Number one, they make much better beer than the national bullshit that we, Miller Lite and Coors Light and Budweiser. It's better beer. Number two, and number one, number two, they can get a premium price for it. So I hope it's all just local breweries.
It probably won't be. I'm sure they're going to have to give the Budweiser. I mean, you think someone from South Georgia? No offense to anyone who's watching this in South Georgia, God bless you, but someone from I don't know Baxley wants to get a beer. They're not going to drink an IPA. I'm sure an IPA is really in the deep end for them.
Here's if that's all they had and they were wanting a beer, they would be introduced. They would be baptized.
Yeah, it would be bad though.
They would catch on real quick. Baxley would have the whole 7-Eleven would be filled up with Creature Comforts.
But yeah, I mean they're gonna have to provide some sort of. It'll be Miller or Budweiser or what's another?
Coors.
Yeah, it'll be one. Coors is with Terrapin.
Patch Blue Ribbon. I'd let them in.
I think PBR is just PBR. I think.
God bless them. I would put them in along with Creature Comforts and Terrapin. Everybody else can go fuck themselves.
Well, yeah, and then I wrote that blog, and it actually got a lot of negative people comments underneath it, and I read it, and obviously I know Facebook. It's a much older crowd that I'm playing to, and that's why honestly I stopped posting on Facebook because I just got tired of dealing with all the old people commenting about and pontificating to me about why why not I should write something. But they were very upset that Georgia, because I said, ladies and gentlemen, at long last our national nightmare has ended, and multiple people comment the nightmare has just begun. Oh my God, students are going to drink. Are you blind? Like what?
This will be controlled because they're not going to. You got to show an ID, and it can't be one of those things that get you in a bar in downtown Athens. It's going to have to be a legit ID. There's too much liability. Nah, I promise you. Plus, the price point they're going to put on that shit.
That's the thing. I guarantee you, and I think that's what we talked about whenever it first was announced. I think the price point is going to be like an $8 beer because let me tell you something. As a student, I would make that calculation really quickly. $8 for now or $2 beer, down at General Beauregard's. I'll take that $2 beer and I'll turn that around and make it a whiskey and Coke, and I'll be completely okay.
Or go to a convenience store in Athens and buy you a 6-pack of Tropicalia for whatever it is. Yeah. It's so much cheaper in Athens, by the way, than it is around here.
Well, I didn't know that.
It's cheaper in Athens than it is. You can buy it in Kroger and around Atlanta. But yeah, you can go and buy it in a store and, still do the same things you were doing before, which is binge drink, wait, sober up, and then come back in downtown Athens. It's not going to be, the apocalypse that everybody's talking about. It'll have to be worked out. But there's not going to be a whole bunch of college kids lining up. Because it's going to be, like you said, it's going to be $8, $10, $12 beers. How much are they at Stegman? They're expensive.
They were really expensive. I think it was like $16 for 2 beers. So it was $8, $9, right?
Yeah. And they are 16-ounce beers, but so what? I mean.
Yeah, at that price point, you can go to Racetrack down here and get it much $4 cheaper. So yeah. I don't really understand that. So I don't think it's going to be the apocalypse that everyone, like you said. I don't think.
What you may get though is all the older alumni who can afford it. They're much more willing to start doing what is it? The swag? Is that whatever?
Swag surfing? Yeah.
They'll start being much more willing to do that in the third quarter now. That'd be loaded
up. Everyone's knock on Sanford Stadium is not loud enough. Maybe now it will be.
We'll get my generation going because we have a few pops, and by halftime we're dying. We can't do that anymore.
The first game I think is against Tennessee Tech after Clemson. That's the first home game. Could you imagine? It's going to be so hot. Georgia's going to be blowing them out. The amount of booze that they're going to go through.
What it may do is actually keep some of the alumni in the stadium a little bit longer. So on those types of games where it's a blowout, instead of leaving with a mass of people in downtown being flooded, hey, I can sit here and I'll pay a few more dollars, but I'm not going to wait and walk and shuffle uptown and walk up those fucking steps with everybody else. I'll have a few more pops and watch the younger kids play. You might have them stay in the stadium a little bit longer.
I would, if I can have a beer and it's nice and cool and I find a nice spot underneath the overhang, just watch football in front of me. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. So I'm glad that we have finally gotten to that point. I mean, it took long enough. I'm just glad that we finally gave in. I mean, it took forever.
You know what I would like to do is take a snapshot right now of the revenues over the last 2 years of non-beer sales. And I don't know how that revenue works. Do they put it all in the athletic department, or is it just the stadium, the Sanford Stadium by itself?
Like the concession
Yeah.
revenue?
Yeah, and take that and compare it to the next 2 years and see what you get. Because
here's the thing: people are going to be much more willing to buy peanuts, popcorn, pizza, a hot dog with their beer. There's going to be a lot more. So yeah, I think the revenue will probably go up.
But here's the other thing I would say: they better make better use of that bridge since they closed it out. If they're going to do that,
that's where it should be.
Yes, exactly. Put it out there so you're not crowding up the smaller. I mean, the other side of the stadium has been the corridor has been opened up. It's still a problem, and if you can't just do the grab and go thing with the beers. It's going to have to be thought out, right? And I think that bridge part, open up the taps out there and let people be going out there.
Yeah, I mean that's a good idea. Reed Plaza, if they have beer sales in Reed Plaza, that's a fucking disaster. I mean it's already so
disaster already. Go get a water, man. Right?
Yeah, and they opened up on the other side there. I mean that's fairly new. From away from the stadium on the other side of the concourse, they opened up more places, and that's still a disaster. So, but the thing about the bridge is that's also a gate. So, how are they going to have traffic flowing with the beer sales? I don't know. Thank God that
I'm not buy a souvenir cup, and then post COVID, instead of the water fountains where you put your water bottle under there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just be able to fill up your own cup. It's got a QR code on it, and then you have to put in a certain amount to re-up that bitch, and then everybody can just grab it and go. That's what I think. Put your credit card file and just go. People get their bill on Monday, and they're like, fuck, $1,200.
Yeah, that would be bad. Just free-flowing beer. That would be really bad. And they're also selling seltzer. And they're selling seltzers too, so that means more drunk sorority girls. So that'll be
good for all of us.
I guess good for it. Yeah, exactly. Disaster waiting to happen. All right. Well, subscribe, like, comment, do whatever.